Eleni Kounalakis, thank you so much for making time for us.
Great to be with you, Ashley.
So first, I just want to start with your background and your experience. What about that makes you qualified to be California's next state treasurer?
Well, I've been very honored to serve for 8 years as California's lieutenant governor. I'm the first woman ever elected to the position, and it has really been an extraordinary opportunity. But this is actually the first elected office I've ever held. Before this, I was in the private sector. I ran a master planned housing community business. We built major housing developments in the Sacramento region. I did that for almost 20 years. And really, I never thought that I would leave that work. But I had an opportunity when President Obama was elected to serve in his administration as a United States ambassador. So I'm also a diplomat, and now have had 8 years of experience working at the state level. And frankly, I enjoy public service. It feels very meaningful to me. And because I have a background in business and in housing specifically, being the next state treasurer feels to me like the perfect fit. And I'm very, very excited to take on this new role.
Yeah, I want to circle back to that in a second, but just with the state's financial situation right now, your assessment, I mean, as lieutenant governor, but also as the potential incoming state treasurer, what do you make of it?
Well, that's a very good question. You know, what I saw over the last 8 years is that California is and really has always been a boom and bust state. So we have years where tax revenue is significantly greater than expected. 22-23, it was $100 billion budget surplus that we had. And then 2 years later, we had a $50 billion budget deficit. So this is a real challenge for us. And one of the things I'm very excited about is Proposition 2, which is on the ballot right now, which will allow us to put more money in any given year into the rainy day fund. Right now, of all of our tax revenue, we can put about 10% of that revenue into the rainy day fund. If voters pass Proposition 2, that can go up to 20%. This to me is incredibly important because it will help us smooth out the boom and bust elements of our tax income in order to be able to have predictability in funding the programs of the state. The fact that we have a lot of use it or lose it kind of funds makes it difficult to budget, in my opinion, in the most effective way. So that's one of the challenges. But again, right now in this election, we have an opportunity to do something about that.
What would you do differently than current state treasurer Fiona Ma if you're elected?
So Fiona, look, she's a friend. We've worked together as two constitutional officers side by side for the last 8 years. From all of the conversations that I have had with people who work with the state treasurer's office, it is very well run, very well organized. There are 550 people on staff there. There are countless programs that are operated under her leadership. And to me, the most important thing that I have heard is that the current state of the treasurer's office is very good, very efficient, and very well run. So first and foremost, I'm going to continue that work. I think for me, probably the thing that I'll do a little bit differently is really just based on my experience. I had 20 years of working in housing, and the most important affordable housing programs that the state has are tax credit programs and our bond financing programs are actually run out of the treasurer's office. So I know she's pretty hands-on, but I intend to be even more hands-on to make sure that if California taxpayers and our precious tax revenue goes to fund housing projects, that I know exactly which housing projects that we are funding and that we are moving those through the process to get those rooftops over families' heads.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, you're managing billions of dollars in that space. With your background in real estate, with, I mean, your father's reputation in real estate, he's a well-known Democratic donor, and with you handling these investments, this financing in housing and infrastructure, what will you do to ensure there's no perception of a conflict or issue there?
You know, Ashley, I was surprised a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, Cal Matters did a report that said that of the 8 constitutional officers in California, I was the only one who did not have an FPPC violation. So the fact that I come out of a management background, I managed a company, I managed an embassy, I am very particular about the details, and it's very important to me to make sure that there are no conflicts, that everything is operated transparently and above board. I can tell you very particularly about this. Affordable housing developers are very, very different than the kind of development that my family and I used to do, or that I used to do. I built backbone infrastructure. I assembled land together to be able to bring it through a planning process, to be able to develop it at all. So that kind of work is just, honestly, it's completely different players, completely different work than the affordable housing developers, some of whom I've had the opportunity to meet over the last few months since declaring my intention to run for this job. So there's no firewall, because they're just completely two different kinds of housing businesses, if you will. And for me, the most important thing is that I have this experience to be able to work with them, to know what they're proposing, and to be able to tell the difference between good projects that deserve to have state funding and those which maybe should be coming back and need a little bit more work on their proposals.
Is housing in this whole space, I mean, is this action that you try to tackle day one? I guess I'm trying to get a sense of, if you were elected, what would you first try to do as state treasurer?
You know, this is not an office that is in the headlines very often. The fact of the matter is that when you're running the finances of the state, you don't want to be in the headlines. You want to make sure that you go in there, you know who is in charge of what, how our funds are being managed, and you get basically under the hood of the state finances to make sure that we're operating in a way that is transparent and efficient and responsible. So for me, the first order of business is going to be in there to really understand on a foundational level the inner workings of our state's financial operations. That's very important. You know, we're talking about a pooled money investment account, for instance, which, by the way, the funds from the rainy day fund are part of what's under that umbrella. It's $185 billion, $185 billion in Californians' money that is there to fund future programs. To me, it's extremely important that there is focused and clear leadership to make sure that we're doing everything right. I will give you one thing that I do want to focus on day one. The California bond rating right now is the highest it's been since the Great Recession. Both Governor Newsom and Fiona Ma and the Governor's Department of Finance, all of them deserve a lot of credit for getting the bond rating back up. But in fact, it could be higher. And when you compare the security of the investments of California bonds compared to other types of bonds that I've seen that have higher bond ratings, I actually think that we can do better. And if we increase and improve our bond rating one more step to the A level, that automatically will give us a savings in how much we pay to service our debt, which is just more money right back into the general fund. So that's one very specific thing, and maybe we'll get some headlines out of that.
Well, what do you specifically see help it for? I mean, for those who aren't really that familiar with this process, I mean, what specifically could help improve our state's bond rating?
Yeah, so for everyday people who probably don't think about this, but are maybe tuning in, if you think about your own credit rating, right, the better your credit rating, the more likely if you were to get a loan, the better terms you would get on that loan because you would be considered a safer investment. California bonds are, to me, just about the safest investment that you can make. And that is largely because after we fund education out of our general fund, the next thing we do is we service our debt. We have never defaulted on any bonds ever in the past. So to me, the idea that we shouldn't have, you know, the top highest possible rating, to me, that does not make sense. And so again, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and if I'm so fortunate to be elected, that's one of the things I want to work on.
Okay. So you initially in this election ran for governor, and then you decided to not do that. And then shortly after, you decided to run for state treasurer. Why?
I'm not a career politician. Again, this is the first election that I had, was to serve as lieutenant governor, and I cannot tell you what an honor and a privilege it has been. Running for governor of California, I think, as you saw very intimately, it's a very, very difficult thing to do. We're a huge state, 40 million people, the economy, an economy the size of India's, and getting your message out is just a very difficult thing to do. And so I was in it. I was certainly interested in the job. But after a while, I thought, we need a treasurer who has a deep background and experience in business and finance and public finance. I know that I can serve the people of our state very well in this position. So it just felt like a much better fit for me. But I will say never. I still have possible things I can do in the future. But for right now, this to me is by far the best way that I can use my skills and my experience to serve the people.
But for those who saw that you ran for that higher office, then you switched to another, for those who might think that maybe you don't really actually want to be state treasurer, you just want to hold another office, what would you say to that?
No, it's because I want this office that I switched. It's as simple as that.
So with your work as lieutenant governor, is there anything from the last 8 years that you want to build on as state treasurer if you're elected?
Absolutely. I have also, in this position, had this wonderful relationship with Governor Newsom, where he asked me to serve as California's representative for international affairs and trade because I'm a former United States ambassador. And as I have dealt with delegations from around the world who have come here looking to invest in our state, one of the things that I'm constantly asked is, what is it about California that makes this place so special, that allows us to reinvent our economy every couple of years in a way that we truly are the envy of the world? And the answer is our people, and in particular, our young people. Because in a state of 40 million people, we have 3 million students enrolled in public higher education in our state. Almost 40% of them, about 37%, are the first in their family to go to college. So we have this unbelievable, robust system of public higher education. The UC, the CSU, the community college system. And we have these young people that is just this giant conveyor belt of talent through the system and into the economy. So even as treasurer, I know I'll have the opportunity, particularly when it comes to financing the physical improvements and facilities of our university system. That's something that I'll be able to continue to work on very directly. But I also fully intend to continue to be a great champion and cheerleader, if you will, for public higher ed in our state.
Yeah, whether that's higher education, whether that's really any issue in our state, are there any financial decisions that you think our state leaders have made that have maybe not been the right ones?
Well, I always would argue for more money into higher education, because what we have seen is that for every dollar that we put into higher ed, we get it back in many, many multiples, because you invest in our people, you invest in our young people, you help them realize their dreams, whether it's to be a welder and to get a great, good paying union job, or whether it's to be a researcher at the University of California, San Francisco, the greatest public research institution in the country. This to me is extremely compelling. And so with the thousands of decisions, budget decisions that have been made over the 8 years that I've been in office, from the governor's office to the legislature, there has been no more compelling thing to me than to invest in higher education from a finance side. So I'll probably continue to be advocating for that too.
Is there anything else you think we should know about your run for state treasurer?
Maybe on the personal side, part of, the reason that this is so compelling to me is based on my own family experience. You mentioned my father, who is just celebrated his 90th birthday and built an incredible company building housing, particularly here in the Sacramento region. But he came to the United States as a refugee. He came at 15 years old, landed here nearby in Lodi. He worked as a farm worker. He rode the bus into the fields with Joe Cerna, the great Joe Cerna, former who was mayor of Sacramento, the first Latino mayor. But my father, as a young man, was encouraged to go to college. He came to Sacramento. He enrolled in Sacramento State University, and he paid his way through while working as a waiter in the governor's mansion. It changed the trajectory of his life, and it changed the trajectory of his kids and grandkids and all of our family. So, you know, I think it's important that people know that about me, because I have never, far before I ever ran for anything, lost sight of the journey that is the American dream, that is the California dream, and how important it is to keep that journey, to keep it open for others. And on that note, what is happening right now in this country, because of the incredibly cruel and often inhumane policies of the Trump administration toward immigrants, it's just utterly unacceptable. So there are going to be a lot of things on the ballot in November, and I hope we elect Democrats up and down the ticket here in the state, around the country, and we flex here in California for the country to see that it is truly the fact that California has benefited from America's generous immigration policies over the last, few generations in particular. That is what has made California great. And we absolutely need to be looking at this differently, and first and foremost, stop the terrible treatment that immigrants and immigrant families are experiencing right now.
All right. Madam Lieutenant Governor, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley.